Um, I hate to predict things like that. There is a period of transition because what we're doing is very big. We're bringing wealth back to America. That's a big thing. And there are always periods of, it takes a little time.
Well, it does take time, and President Trump's only been in office for 7 weeks. But look, businesses hate uncertainty. And for many, the fentanyl tariffs, they just don't compute. Joining me now, Maria Bartiromo, host of Mornings with Maria, and Sunday Morning Futures. Maria, great to see you. Now, I noticed, everyone noticed, the markets noticed, that the president hesitated when you asked him about a recession. We all remember our history. We remember Reagan's first few years started off rocky economically. Is that where we're headed here?
Well, look, Laura, it's great to be with you tonight. I think what President Trump said yesterday was important because he gave his vision of where things are going. Yes, he hesitated about the recession. I don't know if we're going to go into a recession this year. The president doesn't know if we're going to go into a recession this year. Here's what we do know. The Atlanta Federal Reserve said that they are expecting a contraction in the first quarter. We know what a recession is. It's 2 quarters of contraction. It's not any guarantee that we're going to get 2 quarters of contraction. But there's no doubt about it, before President Trump even came into office, things are slowing down in a big way. I think what set the markets off today was the fact that we don't have the clarity in terms of where the tariffs are going. Because President Trump has a much bigger vision than just 25% tariffs and it's going to impact you over the near term. He's looking much longer term.
Yeah, and Maria, I think again that everyone knows I'm very pro-tariff. Okay, I loved how he rolled out the China tariffs in the first term, but remember it was handled a little bit differently because they did that 302 study, not to get too wonky, and they really presented a compendium of evidence as to why China needed to be brought to heel. Anti-dumping provisions, they laid it out in excruciating but very compelling detail. So it really made a lot of sense. I think with the fentanyl tariffs on Canada and Mexico, and then China gets only 10%, then we're doing a summit with China, I think that people can't process it. And I still have heard a very clear explanation for why, as a fentanyl matter, that makes sense.
Well, I'll tell you why. First of all, the world has changed considerably in the last 4 years to 5 years because it's a much more dangerous place, as you know, Laura. I agree with you on tariffs. I have no problem with the president's plan on tariffs. Sure, it will be disruptive over the near term because in President Trump's last term, a lot of corporate America was pivoting away from China. They read the room. President's agenda. Let's pivot away from China. Let's pivot toward Mexico. They put a lot of their supply chains in Mexico. Now we're seeing Mexico as an issue because President Trump's ideal scenario is build it here. Bring your manufacturing to America, create jobs, and build it here. Yes, it will be more expensive. And right now, corporates are having to recalibrate. What is that going to mean if I have to fire up a manufacturing plant? It'll take 2 to 3 years, or face the prospect of tariffs. The other thing is what I just mentioned. The world has changed. America can no longer rely on important products in the supply chain in our adversary, okay? We know that 90% of all advanced semiconductor chips are made in Taiwan. Think about that. 90% of all advanced semiconductor chips are made in Taiwan. What do we use advanced semiconductor chips?
Everything.
All of our technology, our military. So, okay. Get your head around that. We're going to use chips that are made in Taiwan for our military, and Taiwan could be in jeopardy of a potential upset from China. How about prescription drugs? 90% of the underlying components in our prescription drugs
100%.
that we need if we're sick are made in China. We know what happened during COVID. We know all of that, Xinhua News and all these other, propaganda media, so-called media, came out and said, and threatened us and said, maybe we won't send all of those components for prescription drugs to America. Maybe they need them. Maybe they should get sick. That's the point. America has changed. The world has changed. It's a much more dangerous place. President Trump knows that. He wants manufacturing here. How else
Yeah,
are you
and
going to
that-
get these guys to move their manufacturing plants here if you don't say pony up?
And what people don't also understand right at this moment, or maybe they can't see, they don't really care, that some of these businesses, is the economic boom that will happen when manufacturing returns. All these communities, Maria, that have been hollowed out over the years, their deindustrialization has wrecked so much of the Rust Belt. Those communities, businesses can move back. That is good stuff